the day approaching.
As we see the day approaching, and you have to see the day approaching. We just went through a major thing where the world had to see that our identity is coming back to us. Okay? It had to come through celebrities because the voice of celebrities is what people gonna listen to.
Yeah.
Okay? They're gonna listen to a billionaire. They're gonna listen to their top basketball player. You know how people love their damn sports. You know what I'm saying? If y'all notice, if y'all seen the last two clips on H.O.I. Mustard Seed, if y'all following the channel, the last two clips was of us teaching at the Barclays Center.
Yeah.
And we was out there, IUIC, HODC, but we stayed till the crowd came out the basketball game. So the crowd was kind of lively, but you might not have seen all of it on camera, but a lot of our people was coming by. Yo, peace, brothers, all right, man, that's right. You know, why? Because they heard Kyrie and Kanye speak about the truth. Okay? Go to, real quick, hold your point 1 second, Rob. Go to Sirach 13:23. So yeah, it's a hot topic. It's gonna be talked about. You know what I'm saying? Don't exploit it. Don't Salakia. I mean, don't all of a sudden, you know, now you want to be associated and affiliated with Israel. Right? You know what I'm saying? Now, yo, those are my brothers, man. I always like my brothers. I ain't never had nothing against them brothers. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to be all down because you see some celebrity status affiliated with the truth. Right? But read Sirach 13 and 23.
Sirach 13, verse 23. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue.
When a rich man speak, every man hold his tongue. Go ahead.
And look what he saith.
Go ahead.
They extol it to the clouds.
The Lord said they look what they say if they extol it to the clouds. Go ahead.
But if the poor man speak,
go ahead.
They say, what fellow is this?
They say, what fellow is this? Come on.
And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him.
Right. They say, when a poor man speak, what fellow is this? We've been on the corners for years teaching this gospel, God. But I just say that to say, and you know, people got to understand the Most High going to use different things to elevate this truth. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people were coming by. They were like, Shalom, brothers. Yeah. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Coming up, giving us love and everything. Because why? Two celebrities spoke and it went boom. It was like a mushroom nuclear cloud. Okay? So the Most High going to use diverse things to get this truth out. Okay? If I go back to Hebrews 10 and 25. Oh, Salaki, you want to say something, Rob?
Oh, no, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
The scripture you forgot.
Right, Karen. Go to Hebrews 10, 25.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 25. Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together,
Go ahead.
as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another,
Go ahead.
and so much the more as ye see the day approaching.
Right, so much the more as we see the day approaching. So we have to understand something that, you know, you have to understand that coming together in these last days is very important. Karen? All praises to Yahweh Bashim Mashiach Yahushua. So go from there. Let's go to 1 Maccabees, the 4th chapter. Let's get right into it. So like it real quick. All right. 1 Maccabees, the 4th chapter. And start at 1.
1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 1.
Hold on 1 second. Salakia. Hold on 1 second. Let me line this up real quick. We're going to go to 1 Maccabees, chapter 4. Salakia. Okay, Salakia. My bad, Kings. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Salakia, 1 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 1. So basically,
it's pencils in there. I write stuff down.
Who can tell me in a nutshell, what do we celebrate when we come together to celebrate Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication? Who can give me a summary of it?
You want to write down notes?
A summary.
Basically, standing up, you know what I'm saying? Fighting back, you know?
Standing up, fighting back, go a little bit deeper.
Taking back the temple, re-cleansing the temple.
Taking back the temple, re-cleansing the temple. From who? Right? Israel, under the guidance of the Levites, taking back control of the temple from the Greeks when they desecrated it. Right? When they took it, and we took it back, we fought, kicked them, whooped them the hell out of the temple and took it back from them and rededicated. Like Solomon had a dedication of the temple when he built it. We called it a rededication of the temple back to the Most High. Okay? Go ahead, Caleb.
What did Kanye West do?
Huh? Huh? What did Kanye West do?
Yeah.
He said you're a beautiful Hebrew daughter. That's what he said. Why am I freezing? Salakia. Hey, baby girl had a question. God, all praises, right?
All praises.
You know what Kanye West did? He helped spread this truth worldwide. The Most High used him to help spread this truth worldwide. Okay. God. All right, so First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 1.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 1. Then took Gorgias. So Gorgias was a Greek general, right, coming against Israel to fight against us, right, because they were trying to wipe out the Maccabean rebellion or the Hasmonean rebellion, right, under Judas, Matthias, Jonathan, Simon, and the different Maccabean brothers that you read about in First Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. Everybody write down First Maccabees 2 and 1, verses 1 to 5.
1 through 5.
First Maccabees 2, verses 1 through 5. It gives you the list of all the Maccabean brothers and the father. The father and the different brothers that was during the Hasmonean dynasty or Maccabean revolt. All right, Khan?
Khan.
All right. So when you're doing your research, just look up Maccabean revolt, and it'll give you the deeper history.
2,
Okay?
verses 1 through 5.
All right, so go to First Maccabees 4 and 1 again.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 1. Then took Gorgias 5,000 footmen and 1,000 of the best horsemen, and removed out of the camp by night.
Come on.
To the end he might rush in upon the camp of the Jews and smite them suddenly.
Right, because you see, Esau likes to attack at night. That's what they did with Iraq. When they in the Iraqi war 2003, spring of 2003, remember they said they causing shock and awe. They was dropping 30,000-pound daisy cutter bombers on the Iraqis 3 o'clock in the morning. Right, so the same thing happened here. To the end, he might rush in upon the camp of the Jews and smite them suddenly. See, camp is a spiritual name. Because what is this camp right here talking about? Anybody know? What type of camp is this right here? Don't yell out. Anybody, what type of camp is it? Right, read it again. Read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. To the end he might rush in upon the camp of the Jews and smite them suddenly.
So what was this camp of the Jews that it was talking about? Shalom back.
It's a war camp.
A war camp, Khan. So they were going to war. So he was coming in to rush in on the camp, on a war camp of Israel. All right, read on. Verse 3.
And the men of the fortress were his guides.
Go ahead.
Now when Judas heard thereof, he himself removed.
So Judas was the brother, the Maccabean brother, that took charge of the rebellion after the father Matthias died. All right, Matthias passed it to him. He said, Judas, you have been a man of war since your youth. So he passed the baton to him. When he knew he was going to die, he said, let my mightiest son take over the war, the revolution against these Greeks. Khan? There was no J. Edgar Hoover back then with COINTELPRO to kill him. They eventually killed Judas, but you know they fought the battle. Khan? It wasn't no Black Panthers. It was Israelites under the laws of the Most High. That's why their campaigns was successful. Khan? And when you read, and throughout these next 8 days, read the story of the Maccabees. Take this time to read the story of the Maccabees. Get into the spirit. So when you get the second Maccabees, it's going to give you all the war campaigns of Judas. Okay? Because Judas was one of the mightiest warriors of the Maccabean family. Okay? So take this time, right? Go to, real quick, go to 1 Maccabees 9 and 19. Real quick, go to 1 Maccabees 9 and 19. To show you that Judas was, all the brothers were warriors, but Judas was the one that stood out of all the Maccabean brothers. He was the mightiest warrior. All right, so let's prove that with 1 Maccabees 9:19. Make sure y'all taking meticulous notes. All right, 1 Maccabees 9 and 19. Everybody have it, say Khan. Shalom, family. Shalom, everybody online. True Nation in the building. Shalom.
Then Jonathan and
Salakia. Read 1 Maccabees 9:19. Read that, brother.
1 Maccabees 9:19. Then Jonathan and Simon took Judas their brother.
Start at 18.
18.
Yeah, 1 Maccabees 9:18.
9:18.
Yeah, read that.
Judas was killed.
Judas also was killed. Come on.
And the remnant fled.
So when you read this chapter, it'll tell you about the death of Judas. This is when Judas died in battle. Go ahead.
Then Jonathan and Simon took Judas their brother and buried him in the sepulchre of his fathers in Modin.
Right, because they had a Maccabean burial ground where all the men were, the family were buried in. Go ahead.
Moreover, they bewailed him, and all Israel made great lamentations for him, and mourned many days, saying, "How is the valiant man fallen that delivered Israel?"
Yeah, so how is the valiant man fallen that delivered Israel? See that? Because what? Valiant means to be brave or courageous. They said, damn, Judas was a warrior. He got killed. How is the valiant man? And a lot of times what happens when your leader gets killed, sometimes it shakes up the movement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get like, oh man, who gonna take on the charge?
Yeah, the morale.
That's why a lot of times what Esau do, he takes out the head. That's why even Brother Tariq, even though Tariq been kind of coming at us lately, but Tariq always says, I'm not the leader. Don't put me as your leader. Because if you have a leader, they're going to go after that leader. And once the leader's killed and moved out the way, a lot of times that's how they mess up the movement. How they did away with the Panthers.
Yep.
They killed all the leaders. How they took out the revolutionary part of the Nation of Islam. They took out Malcolm. Right? Even Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King started saying, I immigrated my people into a burning house. Right? They killed him. You know what I'm saying? So anytime there's a leader of a movement or anything, they're going to take them out. And the people get in fear. Like, damn, our leader's gone. Our warrior's gone. What we going to do now? Right? So they say, how is the valiant man of Israel fallen? Go ahead.
As for the other things concerning Judas and his wars and the noble acts which he did.
It said, as concerning the other things that Judas did and his wars and his noble acts. Right? Come on.
And his greatness.
And his greatness, because he was a great man of war. Okay? Right? Go ahead.
They are not written, for they were very many.
It said, it's so much war campaigns that Judas had, a lot of them are not even written. They're like, man, there's things about this. This dude whooped people's behind and it wasn't even recorded. He fought so many people, and a lot of it was Edomites and enemies of Israel. Okay? He had to kill a couple of sellouts too, but a lot of times he was fighting an enemy. Okay? And what happens when the Most High is with you, he's going to fight for you. He's going to make your hands successful in war. Right, okay? You got something?
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, just like with the Edomite back in the day when they was doing the slaves, they was like buck breaking the biggest one,
The buck breaking, right?
Like, man, if they did that to him, like, man, what they gonna do to us?
Right, exactly.
Minds.
Exactly. You read that in the Willie Lynch letter, right? Even the Italians had a running joke. It was in one of the movies. The Italian, like the Italian mafia had a running joke. They said when you go to jail, you get the biggest, strongest black man and you knock him out in your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like Eddie Murphy said, he said these white Italians, they go see Rocky. And then they go up to the biggest, meanest black man and think they can knock him out. And Jake be like, you talking to me? Right?
Oh,
so
Rocky.
So the mafia say, listen, you want to get respect in jail? You get the biggest, meanest black guy and you knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Which Esau, you know what I'm saying? Jake gonna lay, because in jail, it ain't really, it's kind of like an even playing field a lot of times. So you ain't gonna just run up to the biggest Jake like that and knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Look at John Gotti. He got knocked out in jail by a black man. Got his nose broken. You know what I'm saying? By a Benjamite. He was talking reckless to the Benjamite, and the Benjamite broke his nose. You know what I'm saying? All that tough guy, Teflon Don, all the murders he was having in the mafia, he couldn't stand up to that Benjamite brother in jail. So they always say, get the biggest, meanest black guy and knock him out. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
And if I'm not mistaken, that was a federal penitentiary.
Yeah, it was a federal
Not
penitentiary. No, that was
so
a fancy
supposed to be a
thing.
little bit lightweighter than that.
Right.
And he still got knocked out.
And he still got knocked out. They had him in the Daily News. He had a bloody nose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Benjamin bloodied his nose. You know what I'm saying? So they get the biggest, strongest one and buck break him. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did with what they tried. Kanye is just all over the place. He halfway apologized. Then he's with the white supremacists. Then he said the hell with y'all. But that's what they did with Kyrie. They buck broke him. You know what I'm saying? And Kyrie kind of apologized, but they was trying to really break him down with all them demands they was making. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't about the anti-Semitism. It was about y'all saw Dr. Umar on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
He said it was about a heterosexual black. Dr. Umar's a psychologist, so he's gonna go into the mental thing of it.
Right.
So, and he made a lot of sense. It's about taking a heterosexual so-called black man and breaking him down in the media.
Absolutely.
The homosexual brothers, they got them already. They got them buck broken already. It's about taking the real men and breaking them down, buck breaking them in the media.
Right.
So now the people don't have no warriors to look up to. They're like, oh man, everybody folding to this white man. So we might as well we ain't got nobody standing up. Okay? So that's what it was about. So go back to 1 Maccabees 4. So y'all see 1 Maccabees 9:18 through 22. It tells you how much of a warrior Judas Maccabees was. Okay?
Right.
So go back to 1 Maccabees 4 and 4.
1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 4. While as yet the forces were dispersed from the camp, in the mean season came Gorgias by night.
Right, the mean season can mean the winter. It can also mean in the meantime. That's what it means when it says in the mean season. All right, and we know the Feast of Dedication comes around this time of the year, the 9th month, 25th day. So that's the winter season. But in the mean season also can mean in the meantime. All right, so go ahead.
In the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judas. And when he found no man there, he sought them in the mountains. For said he, these fellows flee from us. But as soon as it was day, Judas showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men, who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their mind.
Right, these wasn't really like men of war. These were just men that was willing to stand up and fight for Israel. But they wasn't the hardest warriors. You know what I'm saying? But they were still rolling with Judas like, if we go out, we going out with you. Because this is about our nation. This is about these Greeks coming in and defiling our temple and taking it from us and, taking us away from the worship of the Most High. Because our connection to the Most High was the temple. Okay? Right, read on.
And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed and compassed round about with horsemen. And these were export of war.
Right, so the Greek camp, the Edomite, that's one thing about the Edomites. They trained, even way back from the Greeks and the Romans. They trained, they nourished war. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, damn, these are men of war. These are men that, remember in the movie 300?
Yeah.
He said, Spartans, what is your profession? Oh, they were basically saying, we are war. This is our profession. We are soldiers from birth. Yeah. These men are carpenters and blacksmiths and leather makers, tanners. But they said, meaning these are men that were raised to be warriors. Right. Yeah. You understand? So they was like, damn, we're not really men of war. And we're going up against an army that's warriors. Right? Go ahead.
Then said Judas to the men that were with him, fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember in the Red Sea, when Pharaoh pursued them with an army.
Right, so he was letting them know, don't fear all these men and their experts in war. Look, the Most High could use the water for us. Right? We didn't even have to fight Pharaoh's army. We just went through the Red Sea. They tried to follow us with horse and buckler and shield, and they got drowned. We didn't even have to fight them. The Most High used the water against them. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Now therefore let us cry unto heaven.
Let us cry unto heaven. Always pray to the Most High. And we're going to need that in these last days. We going out there to the camps. We moving around now. You got your fringes on. Now Israel is out there. We're a household name. You're going to have to be praying to the Most High. They're going to be watching. Okay? Right, go ahead.
If peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us.
That's another reason why we made that move in New York too. Because it's like kind of showing the heathen too. Like, look, time going to come. I'm going to have my brothers back. Whether he's from a different camp or not. Okay? You devils going to have to fight all of us. You know what I'm saying? We got our little different camps and differences. But you let the ish hit the fan, I got my brothers back. So that's why we showed that unity in New York too. Don't get it twisted. We might have our different camps, but listen, if I'm walking down the street and I see my brother and you trying to hurt him or kill him, we going out together.
By Shimon Mashiach.
I don't give a damn about no camp. Okay? Right, go ahead.
If peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us and remember the covenant of our fathers and destroy this host before our face this day.
He said, man, look, have faith, man. The Most High can kill these cats like he did the Egyptian army in the Red Sea. Okay? So whenever we feel like the odds are against us, always put that faith in the Most High. He can defeat them. He can defeat any odds. Okay? Right, go ahead.
That so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel.
There's one that delivereth and saveth Israel. Go ahead.
Then the strangers lift up their eyes and saw them coming over against them. Wherefore they went out of the camp to battle. But they that were with Judas sounded their trumpets.
So, because remember, we sounded the trumpet when we went to war. We sounded the trumpet. Everybody write down Numbers 10, verses 1 through 9. With 1 Maccabees 4:13. Numbers 10, 1 through 9. When we sounded the trumpets whenever we went to war. We sounded the trumpets for calling of assembly. We sounded the trumpets for, what else? Announcements.
Knocking down Jericho.
Knocking down the walls of Jericho. All right. When we announce feast days. Okay? So put that down. Numbers 10, 1 through 9 with 1 Maccabees 4:13. Okay? Right, read on.
So they joined battle, and the heathen being discomfited fled into the plain. Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword.
Come on.
For they pursued them unto Gazera, and unto the plains of Idumea, and Azostus, and Jamnia, so that there were slain of them upon 3,000 men.
Go ahead.
This done, Judas returned again with the host for pursuing them, and said to the people, be not greedy of the spoils, inasmuch as there is battle before us.
Right, so don't be too quick to take the gold, the silver, the stuff they left in the war camp. We still got to kill some of these dudes off. Don't get distracted by the spoils of war. We still got a battle ahead of us. Right, go ahead.
And Gorgias and his hosts are here by us in the mountain.
And this goes to show is nothing wrong with fighting against the enemy and defending yourself. When the time comes, right now we can't raise up an army against Esau unless the Most High give us the spirit. But we'll know that time if and when it comes. Right, go ahead.
But stand ye now against your enemies.
Right, Negroes too busy shooting they pregnant women. You know what I'm saying? Too much. It's just domestic killings is going off the hook, man. Like shooting their families, killing their families, their babies. It just, say Eve is killing Jake. You know what I'm saying? Just emotional, man. If it's that bad, just walk away. You see all these killings in the news with these Jakes, man, these domestic killings. And it's not just us, it's the other nations too. You know what I'm saying? There was a little while back, but Esau killed his daughter's ex-boyfriend. Because he came to the door, was like, please, let me talk to her. And the father was like, look, get away from my door. And, he was on you know when you can talk to them through the video.
Yeah, the ring cam.
The ring cam. Yeah, he was on a ring cam, and the Edomite, he started trying to bust through the door, and Esau told him, "If you come through my door, I'm gonna shoot you." He started trying to break in the house to talk to the girl. So he broke through the door, and the father clapped him. He protected his family, you know what I'm saying? And he killed him. You know what I'm saying? But it was his daughter's ex-boyfriend. It reminded me of, any of y'all saw the movie The First Purge?
Yeah.
I mean, no, not The First Purge, The First Purge movie.
The very first Purge.
Remember the boyfriend came to kill the father, because he was like, she was 15, he was 18, and he was like, look, he's not going to keep us from being with each other no more. And he came and tried to kill the father. What's the actor name?
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke. Yeah, remember he came and tried to kill. It was one of the situations like that.
Yeah.
And the Edomite told him, if you break through my door, I'm going to shoot you. So this domestic thing is going crazy, man. And then all these jakes, they killing the E, they shooting the E's and shooting his mother because she don't give him the video game. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. People losing their damn mind in these last days. Why? Because it's the spirit that's in the air. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of emotions and is attacking the household. So you got to be mindful and circumspect in these last days. That's why the scriptures say pray without ceasing. Keep your prayer game up, man, so you can stay in the spirit. Because, you get emotional and you fly off the handle. You don't know what you're liable to do. We see it in the news every day. They had one, the Jake shot his woman 14 times in front of the children, and she survived. You saw that, right? She survived and was on the news doing an interview.
Right.
And she's like, and they had the videotape. A lot of these jakes is doing it in front of the children. You know what I'm saying? Or the woman is pregnant. It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then Esau's losing his mind, and it's just crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? You see the 4 college students that got stabbed up in
Moscow,
Idaho. They still can't catch the killer.
Right.
Somebody just came in their dorm room and just knifed them up. You know what I'm saying? People just going crazy, man. So as the spirit is out here.
My brother had a friend that lived downstairs to us, and he threw his little daughter off the bridge.
Oh,
God.
Wow.
Oh my God. What was that out here?
Yeah.
That was in LA?
In Long Beach.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even hear about that. I know there was one in Tennessee.
That just happened too.
Where the brother threw, I think the baby was like a couple of days old or something. Threw the baby in the river in Tennessee. So it's bad out here, man. That's why, we gotta thank the Most High for being in this truth, man. And a lot of times, man, we gotta take this thing serious. Because imagine that could be you, man. You know what I'm saying? The Most High brought you in here to keep you with some kind of sanity and keep your mind, on point. Because whenever this kingdom get a little bit too hectic for you, you can come back to these scriptures. Okay? If you're applying them right. Now, if you're not applying them, but you can come back to these scriptures. You can find some comfort in doing the work. You can go out to the camp and, how many times you done came to camp stressed out, but you felt better after camp? You know what I'm saying? How many times Satan try to make you not want to go to camp? Oh, man. And you get out there, we get into the word, we have a little fun, we cut the demons, we edify in Israel. 3-4 hours, you're like, damn, I feel good. You done forgot about it. You hugging them, hey, good camp, I give good camp. We up out of here. You go home feeling good.
Yeah.
You don't say, that was a good camp, King. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you got that comfort of the word. Okay? But this world is going crazy, man. Boy, he shot his mother because she wouldn't buy him some virtual game thing, man.
That's
10 years old.
Moab just threw his mom off the roof.
Yeah.
And you see her mom.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just Israel, man. This thing is going around. Kodash, he did a couple of sit downs on all the domestic stuff going on in Vegas with different heathens and everything. All right, so read on.
Verse 19. And Judas was just speaking these words. There appeared a part of them looking out of the mountain, who, when they perceived that the Jews had put their host to flight and were burning the tents, for the smoke that was seen declared was what was done.
Right. A lot of times when you defeated the enemy, you would burn down a war camp. All right. It was like let me add insult to injury. You know what I'm saying? You would take the spoils and burn down a war camp. Go ahead.
When therefore they perceived these things, they were sore afraid.
Shalom, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Right, go ahead.
And seeing also the host of Judas in the plain ready to fight.
Come on.
They fled everyone into the land of strangers.
Go ahead.
Then Judas returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver, and blue silk, and purple of the sea, and great riches.
Right, so then they took all the fine gold, silver, the fine materials and garments and the spoils. Then after they had defeated the host, and they defeated all the men, killed off all the men, then they took the spoils. Go ahead.
After this they went home, and sung the song of thanksgiving, and praised the Lord in heaven, because it is good, because his mercy endureth forever.
Everybody write down Psalms 136. That song of thanksgiving is Psalms 136. Yahweh, get that real quick. Psalms 136 and 1. Yeah. So if you want to give thanks, you give thanks to the Most High. Okay? The Feast of Dedication on the Hanukkah, this is our time to give thanks. Okay? All right. So read Psalms 136 and 1 real quick.
136 and 1.
Psalms 136 and 1. Yeah, kind.
The book of Psalms, chapter 136. You said verse 1?
Verse 1.
Verse 1. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever.
Right. Oh, give thanks unto Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahushai, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Okay? Right. All praises to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahushai. All right. So go from there to read on. Go back to 1 Maccabees 4:24. So everybody write down 1 Maccabees 4:24 with Psalms 136. This is the song or the psalm of thanksgiving that they sung.
You said 4:34?
1 Maccabees 4:24.
4:24, okay.
With Psalms 136. This was the psalm of thanksgiving that they sung when they defeated the Greeks. Okay? All right, so you want to have a Thanksgiving, come celebrate the Feast of Dedication on the Hanukkah, the Hanukkah. Read on, 25.
Verse 25. Thus Israel had a great deliverance that day.
Thus Israel had a great deliverance that day. Come on.
Now all the strangers that had escaped came and told Lysias what had happened.
Right, because Lysias was one of the top Greek generals that was pushing out Gorgias and these other different generals to have the war campaigns against Judas and the Maccabees to try to defeat them. Come on.
Who, when he had heard thereof, was confounded and discouraged, because neither such things as he would were done unto Israel, nor such things as the king commanded him were come to pass.
Right, none of the things that he would have done unto Israel came to pass, because what? They wanted to defeat us. Okay? They always want to wipe us out as a nation. That's the same thing you read during the time of Esther, right? Same thing you read during the time of Esther. Go to the rest of the books of Esther in the Apocrypha. Same thing. Esau was always trying to exterminate us as a nation. Same thing they're doing now. Go to the rest of the books of Esther, chapter 13. Yeah. It says chapter 13. Place in the Greek after chapter 313 of the Hebrew is on page 55 if you got a red apocrypha.
Okay, you said Esther.
The rest of the books of Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 13.
So, could it also be called additional to Esther?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then with that, I only go up to 7.
It starts off.
It's probably numbered differently.
Okay.
We're going to start it where it says the copy of the letters. So that's why y'all got to get the red Apocrypha. King James Version. All right?
Mine's only go up to 10.
Let me see.
I got them.
Is in here, but
What chapter?
Mine starts off at 11.
it's in here, but it's gonna it's in here, but it's numbered different.
Okay.
It's in here, but y'all got these other alternative apocryphals that are numbered different.
Yeah, those small. The one I have it, but it's too so. The book is so small. The letters is hard to read.
Yeah.
Okay,
You see me? That's why I got glasses.
Yeah, I'm like I can read that small letters.
Yeah.
So I got this big one.
All right.
You got the workbook size.
Yeah.
All right. Who got the red apocrypha?
I got the red park for my thing.
All the sisters got them.
Yeah, I got mine is in there.
The sisters got them. We're not gonna go to the table on the back.
Who got a red? Somebody read out the red one for me.
Oh, the red one.
Here, you want this one?
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Go to the rest of the books of Esther, chapter 13, when you got the red apocrypha. Y'all have them in those other apocryphas, but it's numbered different, and I don't.
I got the 1611.
Okay, Carl, you got it though. Where it says it's gonna start with
Copy of the letters.
the copy of the letters. Yeah. All right, start from there.
Copy.
All right, everybody don't have it, but when you
On
get it.
the additional is chapter 4.
Chapter 4.
Yeah. Chapter 4 and 1.
Oh,
Copy of the letters was this.
Additional is chapter 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 and 1. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, now check this out. During the time of Esther, right? During the time of Esther, we were also fighting who?
fought
The Greeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Huh?
Good point.
Remember, Hammond was a Greek, right? And during that time, the Greeks were trying to overthrow the Persians. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so go to go to the rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, chapter 4, if y'all got the alternative apocryphas. But it's chapter 13 if you got the red apocrypha, or whatever it is, if whatever apocrypha you got. So read that, the copy.
The copy of the letters was this: the great king
Artaxerxes.
Artaxerxes written this things.
Write of these things.
Write of these things to the princes and the governors that are under him from India unto Ethiopia in 107 and 20 provinces.
Go ahead.
After that, I became Lord over many nations and had dominion over the whole world.
So this is the Persians. This is Xerxes declaring that the Most High gave him power over the whole earth. All right, he was the one ruling at the time. Remember, it was the 4 kingdoms that Daniel got the vision of: the Babylonians, the Persians and Medes, the Greeks, and then the Romans. Okay? Right, read on.
Not lifted up with the presumptions of my authority.
Meaning he understood. See, the kings of the nations knew. They got proud, but in the back of the mind, they knew that the Most High put them in power. Okay? Right, go ahead.
But carrying myself away with equity,
With equity.
with equity and
Mildness. He's saying, I'm a good, upright leader. So he's saying, no, Xerxes was wicked as hell. But go ahead.
I propose to settle I purpose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life.
Go ahead.
And making my kingdom peaceable and open for passage to the utmost coast to renew peace, which is desire of all men.
Right, because every ruler at the end of the day, every ruler wanted peace so they could keep ruling. You know what I'm saying? The reason why America said, J. Edgar Hoover said, we don't want a black messiah is because what? It was a threat to their kingdom being overthrown. Like, because they know how powerful we are. If we tap into that power and come together as a nation, we can overthrow them. All right, but it wasn't time because it wasn't of the Most High. That's why none of the movements lasted. Because the Most High said it's not time for y'all to be delivered. They all going to be destroyed. Right, go ahead.
Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass.
So basically, Xerxes was saying, listen, if I want supreme rulership, if I want to continue my kingdom over the entire world, how can we make this happen? How can we put all these nations under us in subjection, including Israel, and have total peace in our kingdom so we can keep ruling? Right. All right, go ahead.
Slaka. Yes.
Now, when I ask my counselors,
I'm gonna go back. Now, when I ask my counselors how this might be brought to pass, amen.
Amen. That's Hammond without the H. Go ahead.
Amen. That excelled in wisdom among us and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom.
Right. Hammond was he was an Edomite that was second in command under Xerxes, the Persian king. Right. Go ahead.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
Now that's talking about Israel. It said it was scattered a certain malicious people. Now Hammond, what he wanted to do is he wanted to overthrow, he wanted to wipe out Israel, and then he wanted to overthrow the Greeks, the Greek leadership. He wanted to overthrow them. I mean, he wanted to overthrow the Persian leadership so that the Greeks could come into power. Esau was always a greedy dog, wanting to take everybody's kingdom, even when the Greeks was next in line. But it was like, no, we 30, 40 years before, we want to take the Persians out of their rulership. We want it now. Right? Go ahead.
That had laws contrary to all nations.
So now Hammond is giving a report of Israel to Xerxes. He said, listen, our kingdom can be at peace if we get rid of this one nation of people. Right, go ahead.
And continually despise the commandments of kings.
So now he's saying that Israel is insubordinate. Right? They're treasonous. He's trying to accuse us of being a treasonous nation. Like they don't want to respect the laws of the land. They don't want to respect kings. They don't respect you as the ruler. So Esau is being the devil that he is. He's antagonizing and trying to get Xerxes to be against us to wipe us out as a people. So the devil been trying to wipe us out. Okay? Back then during the time of the Greeks and during the time of the Maccabees during the time of the Greeks. Go ahead.
So as the unity of our kingdoms honorably
uniting. As the uniting of our kingdoms, God.
Like, as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
It said it can't go forward because of these people. So basically, he's trying to turn the king against us so he can wipe us out. Right, go ahead.
Seeing then, we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men.
Right, they said we in opposition to all men. He's lying like hell. Because when you read about Israel, we was at peace in the Persian Empire. Right, go ahead.
Differing in the strange manner of their laws.
Nah, what we did, and they're going to do the same thing now. They're going to do the same thing in these last days. When the smoke clear, they're going to blame everything on Israel. And they're going to say, we got to get rid of these guys with... Don't you know this whole anti-Semitism thing is really is them coming at us. But they're going to smoke screen it. You know what I'm saying? But this is really coming at Israel because the movement is getting so big on social media. Israel is everywhere now.
That's why they kind of...
No, you're out. Go ahead.
That's why they kind of get rid of TikTok.
Yeah, that's not it. Well, one of the reasons, but TikTok is all over the place. They want to get rid of TikTok for a lot of things, but Israel too, you know what I'm saying? But the main thing is this truth is coming out. And they sitting back like, damn, what are we going to do about this thing, man? This thing is starting to hit the people's living room. Mainstream. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead. Bring it out, King.
They said they want to get rid of fundamental rights, which means get rid of freedom of speech and
right.
freedom of religion. So.
Right. They had an ABC special, man. They not playing with this thing. And I caught that. That went over a lot of people's heads, but they had a documentary on the threat of anti-Semitism on ABC. They said I forgot what they called it, the threat of whatever. But this thing is getting real. Behind the scenes, they plotting and scheming, man. Ain't even behind the scenes no more. It's coming out. So this thing is getting serious. And we read the same thing right here. Back during the Persian Empire, back during the Greek Empire, same thing. That's what part of this whole Hanukkah Feast of Dedication celebration is about, because they want to wipe us out as a people. But we turned it around, whooped the hell out of them, took the temple back, and dedicated it to the Most High. And had an 8-day celebration after we whooped the hell out of Esau. Right? So read on in Esther, in the Apocrypha. Read on.
And evil affected to our state.
And it said, we are evil affected to their state. So basically, Haman, this lion devil Edomite, he's telling the Persian, he's telling Elam, this East Indian, he said, listen, if we get rid of these Israelites, if we get rid of these Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that's how they would say it now. If we never let there be a black messiah like Gay Edgar Hoover and his COINTELPRO program, same thing. Same thing. Right, go ahead.
Working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
So he's bringing all these false charges against us, right? He's bearing false witness. Go ahead.
Therefore have we commanded that all that they that are signified in writing unto you by Amen, who is ordained over the affairs, and is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children.
Check this devil out, man. Check this out. He said all of them with their wives and children, go ahead,
be utterly destroyed by the sword.
See that? He said kill them, all their wives and their children. See that? See how this devil is? Right, lying to the Persian king and saying, kill all of us, our wives and our children. Go ahead.
Of their enemies, without all mercy and pity.
Go ahead.
The 14th day of the 12th month, Adar, of this present year.
He said, listen, wipe out them and all their families. Go ahead.
That they who of old and now also are malicious may in one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter the grave. Oh, my fault. Salaki.
And so ever
hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble.
So he said, listen, kill the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American. They didn't say that, but kill off them Israelites and our kingdom will be at peace. Because Xerxes asked the question, how could we have total peace in our empire? Here come this devil saying all you got to do is wipe out the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American. Like that, bring it up to modern day terminology. Right. Wipe them out, we'll have peace forever. And he was just saying that out of his hatred for us. So you telling me the so-called white man loves you? Huh? Jerry Jones can get caught on video stopping Negroes from coming into school. Oh, he was young, he didn't know any better.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Said. Yep.
Kyrie Irving shares a video. Shares the video.
That's on Amazon.
And they tell the man, you damn near gotta bow down to us and kiss our foot.
Didn't even write nothing. Just
gotta bow down and kiss our foot.
They didn't even take it off Amazon.
For you to get, hold on, brothers. For you to get just back on the basketball court, you gotta basically bow down to us. Yeah, Con, they didn't know they didn't even take it off Amazon. Amazon said they're not removing it. But you had Negroes defending Jerry Jones. Oh, that was back then. It was, it's a double standard. That's how much they hate us, man. And our people can't see that. They can't see that to save their souls. All right, go ahead. That's it. No, that's it on that. Go back to 1 Maccabees 4 where we left off at.
1 Maccabees 4, verse 29.
Hold on. 1 Maccabees 4, 29.
When everybody has it, say Con.
Con.
1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 29. So they came unto Idumea and pitched their tents at Bethshua, and Judas met with them 10,000 men. And when he saw the mighty army, he prayed, and he said, Blessed art thou, O Savior of Israel, who didst quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of thy servant David.
So he's going back to some of the stories of Israel where the Most High was with Israel and allowed us to defeat the enemy, like when David killed Goliath. Good.
And gave us and the host of the strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor bearer.
Go ahead.
Shut up this army in the hand of thy people Israel.
Shut up this army in our hand, right? Give us the power to defeat them. Go ahead.
And let them be confounded in their power and horsemen.
Go ahead.
Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction.
Go ahead.
Cast them down with the sword of them that love thee, and let all those that know thy name praise thee with thanksgiving.
So there it is, praising the Most High with thanksgiving again. Go ahead.
So they joined battle, and there were slain of the hosts of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain.
So the Most High was just giving us the power to kill these heathens off, man. Right, go ahead.
Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judah's soldiers, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, he went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again to Judea.
Right, and it says they were ready either to live or die valiantly. Right, like they say, a man that's not afraid to die is a dangerous man. You don't have nothing to lose, man. You know what I'm saying? And really, that's how you got to be, man. Especially in this truth. You got to be willing to put it all on the line when you're serving the Most High. Because at any time, you are considered an enemy of the state, and they could come for your life, man. That's why I tell Israel all the time, the fight is not here with our nation. It's out there, man. You know, we in here bickering, man. Got the scriptures, got these laws, statutes, and commandments. The Most High tell us how to resolve conflict. Right? Anything you're going through, there's a scripture for it. Okay? But we still seem to not be able to get it together. Okay? Just hard-headed, stubborn, and rebellious, man.
Stiff-necked.
That's why you go through affliction. Because affliction, it teaches you discipline. It gives you strength. And also, you go through affliction because the Most High is saying, get it together. You know what I'm saying? That's a form of the Most High telling you, get yourself together. You catching as hell because you're not right. Okay? Sometimes you can just catch hell because we under the curses, we in captivity. But a lot of times, the Most High is talking to us. Okay? You going through what you're going through because you ain't moving right. Get yourself together. Okay? Right? Get your spirit right. Go ahead.
Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary.
Right, so now remember this 36th verse. It says, then Judas and his brethren said, behold, let us go up to our enemies. So our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up and cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Okay, he said, listen, we got them cats on the move now. Let's go up and cleanse the temple. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Sion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profaned, and the gates burnt up, and shrubs growing in the courts, as in a forest, or in one of the mountains, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads.
Right, they were upset, man, because they saw how the temple was desecrated. Go ahead.
And fell down flat to the ground upon their faces and blew an alarm with the trumpets and cried towards heaven.
Right, that's that blowing out alarm with the trumpets again, like we quoted in Numbers 10, 1 through 9 again earlier. Right, go ahead.
Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary.
There is, he cleansed the sanctuary again, right? Because there was some little some remnants of the Greek army and strongholds still trying to hold on to the temple. So he said, now we gotta whoop the hell out of them and get them out of the temple. Come on.
Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bare out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down.
Go ahead.
And laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the law, and built a new altar according to the former, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple and hallowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick.
So what's the candlestick? Don't yell out. What's the candlestick? Kayla? You almost got it. You on it. It's on the tip of your tongue. Kara? The menorah. Kara?
Yeah.
That's the candlestick. Go ahead.
And the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table.
Go ahead.
And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted.
Right, the lamps. Like right here. Right, these are the lamps. But because back in the ancient time, like I said, we burned olive oil. But you can burn candles now, you know. We rehearsing the righteous acts. Go ahead.
That they might give light in the temple.
Go ahead.
Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table, and spread out the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make.
Right, so you will see the so-called white Jew with a 9-branch menorah. Okay? But the menorah is 7 branches. Okay? The reason why they have the 9 branch because they have that legend that when they took back the temple from the Greeks, that there was only 1 day worth of olive oil in the vat that was able to burn the menorah, but it miraculously burned for 8 days straight. But that's not in none of the history of Israel. So that's why they will have the 9-branch menorah, and then the 8, and then the one in the middle, the one that light the other 8. But the menorah is 7 branches. Okay? Go to let's prove that real quick, like we do every year. Go to Zechariah 4 and 2. Zechariah chapter 4, verse 2. So when you see that 9-branch menorah, I know but that's why Israel, Israel started getting creative with the decorations. Because like them, I can't find no Hanukkah decorations with a 7-branch menorah. You gotta rip 2 off on the side, you know what I'm saying? Right? I used to get the lamp menorahs. I still would, but I can't. For some reason I can't really find them. The lamp menorahs, and the two the side ones I wouldn't like because it was only 7. So the 2 on the side I wouldn't like them, you know what I'm saying? Because that's all you could find in the decorations. Like I said, the sister, she took the Christmas lights and bent them into a 7-branch menorah. Get creative with the decorations, God. Nothing wrong with that. It's in the spirit. You're not trying to be like Christmas. You're actually taking back our true history. Okay? There's a lot of Hebrews that don't understand the Feast of Dedication. They don't know the scriptures, man. You try to have a Jewish Christmas. They don't know the prophecy in the book of Daniel. They ever not knowing the scriptures or the power of the Most High. I don't even argue with them no more. I'll be like, all right, you don't celebrate Hanukkah, all right? Yeah, go ahead and have your Jewish Christmas. All right, go ahead. I don't even argue with them no more. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're just so over righteous and simple. And they don't know the Bible because we're going to read it after we finish. The Hanukkah was prophesied in Daniel's the 8th chapter and the 11th chapter. So now explain that. What was that talking about? All right, so read, King.
Who got it? I got it.
Who got it? Somebody can pick up. Zechariah 4 and 2.
4 and 2.
I got it.
Okay.
Whoever got it, read it.
And he said unto me, what seest thou?
He said, Zechariah, what seest thou? Go ahead.
And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick.
A candlestick, the menorah. Right, go ahead.
Of all of gold.
All of gold, come on.
With a bowl upon the top of it.
With a bowl. You see that? It's like a bowl with a bowl upon the top of it. Some of the modern day menorahs are shaped differently. Go ahead.
And his 7 lamps.
And his 7 lamps, right? Not 9, not 8, not 10. His 7 lamps, go ahead.
Thereon and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps.
The Lord says 7 lamps thereon and 7 pipes. The lamps would be like the top part right here. That's what's talking about when it says the light, and the pipes would be this part right here. So that's what Zechariah saw. He saw the menorah. Okay? Right? So where did Amalek get that 9 from? You can't make up no Jewish folklore. And you got to remember, if the Most High, let's say this olive oil right here, right? This was only a day worth of olive oil to keep the menorah. Of course, the Most High could make it last for 8 days. He could make it last for 80 days if he wanted to. Remember when we came out of Egypt, it said we walked through the wilderness for 40 years and our shoes didn't even get old. The Most High, how do you preserve a pair of shoes for 40 years? So the Most High could do that. Yeah. If he wanted this oil to burn for 80 days, he could, but that's not recorded in Scripture. That's Jewish folklore. That's to sensationalize the story and to make it into a miracle. But the miracle was With a small army of men, we beat a great army of men. That was the miracle. The odds were against us, and the Most High still gave us the power to defeat our enemies. That's the miracle. All right, Khan? Right? So, read on.
Khan, 1 Maccabees 4, verse 51. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make.
Go ahead.
Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Caslu, in the 140th and 8th year, they rose up betimes in the morning.
So that's what tonight would be. This would be the 9th month, 25th day, right, of our Hebrew calendar. 9th month, 25th day. Right, go ahead.
And offer sacrifices according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made.
Come on.
Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals.
Now go from there. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and start at 54.
1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 54.
All right, now write this down. This is the link up. 1 Maccabees 4:54 with 1 Maccabees 1:54 to 64. Now, look at the way is written. It says, look at what time and what day the heathen have profaned it. Even in that it was dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals. 1 Maccabees 4:54. 1 Maccabees 4:54 with 1 Maccabees 1:54 to 64. 1 Maccabees 1:54 to 64 is going to explain what 1 Maccabees 4:54 is talking about. Okay? I know y'all hearing them fitties in there.
454 what?
Fitties and fours.
454 elder at what?
Where you from? You from the fitties?
5.
All right. 1 Maccabees 4:54 with 1 Maccabees 1:54 through 64. Now, the reason why this is important because it says, look at what time and what day the heathen have profaned it. Now, why is it written that way? It says, look at what time and what day the heathen have profaned it. Profanation, or to be profane, means to be against the Most High, or to defile something against the Most High. Okay? So he's saying on the day that they profaned it and defiled the temple, right? They defiled the temple. What happened on that same day? All right. Go to 1 Maccabees 1:54 now.
Everybody got it? Now the 15th day of the month, Caslu, in the 140th and 5th year, they set up an abomination of desolation upon the altar, and built idol altars throughout the city of Judah on every side.
Meaning they set up the abomination of desolation. They took the Most High's righteous temple and they brought uncleanness into it. They sacrificed swine's flesh. They made a statue of Zeus, right, Jupiter, and different Greek gods and goddesses in the temple. They have harlots in the temple. All right, so the same day they defiled it, what's going to happen? Check out what happens. Good.
And burn incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets.
Come on.
And when they had written in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire.
So they were burning Bibles. They were burning Torahs. What's the book of the law? The Torah. The Bible, the scriptures. They was burning. Go ahead.
And wheresoever was found within the book of the Testament.
And guess what? That's going to happen again in these last days. That's going to start happening again. The persecution is going to come again. Right? Go ahead.
Or if any consented to the law.
Now check this out. And wheresoever was found with any book of the Testament, or if any consented to the law, go ahead.
The king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
He said, put him to death, man. Do you find him with the scriptures? Kill him. Right, go ahead.
Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities.
Right, they was doing this to Israel. This was a great persecution against those that stood up for the truth. It happened during the Greeks. It happened during the Romans, right? During the time of the Romans, they was killing Christians, right? It said, Nero fiddled as Rome burned, right? Nero Caesar, he had a fire set in Rome. He blamed it on the Christians, and I think he had 3,000 of them slaughtered, or 5,000, something like that. And it said, as Rome burned, Nero fiddled. So as Rome was burning, he was playing the fiddle. You know what I'm saying? Because he said, I'm going to blame it on the Jews and have them killed. So he was playing music as he was burning down the city, like on 9/11. Remember on 9/11, as the Bush administration was destroying the towers, Senior Bush was reading a pet goat story to the children, right? Which symbolizes what? Pedophilia and Satanism. Because the goat, like the Baphomet, the goat represents Satan. And the children, the Edomites are into pedophilia. Right? You know what I'm saying? So while the towers were being destroyed, people are sick, man. Right? So as Rome burned, Nero fiddled. And he blamed the fire in Rome, he blamed it on the Christians. He blamed it on Israelites and had about 3,000 of them executed. Because he said the Christians did it when he had the fire set. Just like Esau, he knocked the towers down and then blamed it on the Arabs. Gone? Right? He had the sniper situation in D.C. and blamed it on black Muslims. Lee Boyd Muhammad. Right? Yeah. Lee Malvo, whatever the hell.
They executed him, didn't they?
Huh?
When they was shooting through the van.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they execute
them?
They
said they did, but them guys are probably in damn Colombia. They probably in South America with a new idea. Or they probably killed them just so they can not tell the world that they wasn't the ones. They didn't do that sniper thing.
Yeah.
That was military and CIA snipers, man. That was that's why the brother that gave the right report, he ended up in an insane asylum. They locked him up and then they put him in a crazy house.
Oh, wow.
Because he said he saw 2 white men dressed in military gear with high-powered rifles coming out of a white box truck. And they said, oh, he's crazy. He filed a false police report. They locked him up and then put him in a crazy house. Yeah, they probably drugged him, but they probably killed him too. Because he saw who it really was. He said it was 2 military-dressed white men with high-powered rifles, and he saw them in a box coming out of a white box truck. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was a Negro with a little hole in the back of a Chevrolet.
Yeah, I saw the dad.
It was a Lincoln, right? He had a little hole like this. And he was shooting out the back of that hole.
Him and his stepson.
Come on, man. And Jake not on it like that. And a lot of the people that got assassinated and killed were people that had information privy to 9/11. Remember there was some random FBI agent. It was random, but a lot of those people, they was on the 9/11 hit list because they had inside information. Absolutely. Yeah, all that stuff came out back then. So read on.
Verse 58. Thus did they, by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities.
Come on.
Now the 5 and 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God.
So there you go, the 5 and 20th day of the month, which is the same month we celebrate the Feast of Dedication. So the same day and month that they put the abomination idol on the altar is the same day that we cleansed it and burned the righteous offerings to the Most High. So the Most High mocked them. He said, the day you defiled it, I'm gonna have my people cleanse it, and we're gonna make the Feast of Dedication out of it for 8 days. God, so he mocked the heathen, just like we read in Esther. Because they want to kill off all of Israel on the 14th day of Adar, which is the 12th month. That's the day we celebrate Purim. So when they want to kill us, the Most High had us kill them and made a feast day out of it. When they defiled the temple on the 25th day of the 9th month, the Most High had us cleanse it on the same day and made a feast out of it. By Shema Mashiach. Right, read on.
At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised.
See, back then, if you was trying to keep the law, they was killing you. Right now, we boldly keeping the law in Esau's face, and we not going through that hardcore persecution. It's going to start coming. Believe you me, all this Kyrie, Kanye stuff is something bigger coming behind that. Right? But back then, they was killing you, man. They was straight up killing you for keeping the commandments. And we're going to get back to that time. Right? Come on.
And they hang the infants about their necks.
They hang the infants about the neck. You can read that in 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. It was 2 women that had circumcised their children, and they cut the babies out of the stomach and hung the children around the women's neck, and made the women march through the city with the children hung around their neck. Y'all can read that right down 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. Remember, I said read the Maccabees throughout these next 8 days. I mean, read it anytime, but you know, Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah is a good time to get into the story of the Maccabees. Okay? All right? Yeah. They was vicious to our people, man. They were vicious. All right? And, I mean, what kind of nation does that, man? To women and babies and children. All right? Let's get it real quick. Go to 2 Maccabees 6 and 8. Check this out. It's hard to read this, man, but it's in the scriptures. Go to 2 Maccabees 6 and 8. Check this out. Y'all can read the whole chapter on your own. This chapter is crazy, but let's get the main point. 2 Maccabees 6 and 8. Somebody read that nice, loud, and clear for me.
All right, everybody have a say, Con. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestions of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifice.
So they went out a decree. A decree is what? An established order. So they went out an established order that Israel can't keep our feast anymore. We got to keep the heathen feast and sacrifices. Right, go ahead.
And whose would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles.
If you wouldn't conform yourself to the manner of the Gentiles, go ahead.
Should be put to death.
See that? And we coming right back to that time in these last days. Esau gonna put us back. He gonna say, listen, denounce that Hebrew stuff, man. Denounce that Hebrew Bible stuff and come and serve me. Right? If not, you're gonna die. Go ahead.
Then might a man have seen their present misery.
Go ahead.
For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city, the babies hang at their breasts. They cast them down headlong from the wall.
See that? It said they led them throughout the city with their babies hanging from their breasts, and then took the women and threw them off of a wall. That's what that verse is saying. Read it again.
Verse 10. For there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children.
For there were 2 women who had circumcised their children. Go ahead.
Whom, when they had openly led round about the city.
Now, First Maccabees gives you certain detail that Second Maccabees don't. You got to link them both up to get the detail of what happened to these women. So it said, who had circumcised their children when they had openly led them round about the city. How did they openly lead them round about the city? They hung the children around their neck. That's what we read in First Maccabees. So you see how the 2 books, that's why it's important to read the Maccabees, because some stuff in Second Maccabees is going to give you more detail from First Maccabees. Some stuff in First Maccabees is going to give you more detail in Second Maccabees. Okay? Right, go ahead.
The babies hanging at their breasts.
The babies what?
Hanging at their breasts.
So what happened is they circumcised their children, but what did they do? They killed the children, hung them around the women's necks, and made them march through the city to show the other women, you better not circumcise your sons. Okay? Right? Go ahead. See how vicious the so-called white man is? You think Emmett Till was something? Look what they was doing to our people back then. This is back in the ancient time. Okay? Right? Go ahead.
They cast them down headlong from the wall.
They cast them down headlong. You know what that means? Who knows what that means? They cast them down headlong from the wall. Yahweh.
They threw them down head first.
They threw them down head first with the babies hanging around their necks. Tell me this devil ain't got to go, man. Isn't that similar to, remember they used to hang the sisters in slavery and then cut their stomachs and the babies fall out and feed them to the dogs? Doesn't that sound like that? Doesn't that sound like gator bait? They used to feed our babies to the alligators so they can, they used to use the black children to lure the alligators, and then they would capture the alligators and use it for a skin. Kind? Yeah, see that? See how vicious this man been? But we supposed to love everybody. Right? So you see why Judas whooped the hell out of them and chased them out of the city and said, give us the Lord's temple back and we're going to celebrate for 8 days. Good? Vicious people, man. So this is 2 Maccabees 6 and 10 is telling you what 1 Maccabees, the first chapter, is talking about. They took the children and hung them around the women's neck. You want to circumcise your son? All right. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to hang him around your neck. This is what happens to an Israelite woman that wants to circumcise her child. And then they took the women and threw them down off of walls head first. See that? That's how vicious they were to us. Okay? But we supposed to love everybody and get along. Jerry Jones, that was a while ago. Leave him alone. He was a child. Right? And of course the Sambos came out of the woodwork. Okay?
Well,
right? And the crazy thing about it is, our people think we're supposed to just forgive all this stuff.
And what's so funny, if an ADL Jewish person catch an old Nazi that did a war crime a long time ago,
right?
They don't care how old he is. They don't come after him.
Right. Hey, listen, man, they will lock up them so-called Nazi criminals. They could be 92 years old.
They'll still come after him.
They could be 92, wheelchair and a pacemaker. Say, lock them up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Jewish blood is not cheap. You know what I'm saying? They don't forget nothing, man.
They don't forget nothing.
That damn Amalek don't want to forget nothing, man. Them Nazis be 102 years old. Yo, they can barely walk. And everybody, lock them up, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, they don't play, Doc. They don't play. They don't forget nothing, Doc.
There was a movie about that. I forgot the name of the movie when they the boy found out he was a Nazi criminal and he was using them, and they ended up the ADL found out who he was. He was a old man.
Yeah, listen, man. Amalek, Esau in general, they don't forget nothing, man. You know, and we should be the same way, but we too busy fighting against each other. Right? Everybody want to get at Deion Sanders because he don't want to stay at the HBCU.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, you got, all right, stay there and help your people. But my people is robbing me, breaking into my locker, stealing my stuff. You know what I'm saying? They not paying the man right. What he said is 60,000 people in the stands, but it's only 28,000 ticket sales. And he's supposed to get a bonus from the ticket sales.
After 30,000.
After 30,000. You know what I'm saying? So the man said, look, I'm helping the school, but you breaking into my locker, stealing my stuff. You know what I'm saying? You stealing, I think they stole his radio out of his car or something. So while a lot of people say, oh, stay there and help your people, a lot of times, man, your people make it hard to stay amongst them because they treat you worse than damn Esau sometimes. Right? Bring it out.
Oh, yeah, that's the movie I was talking about, Adult People.
Yeah, Apt Pupil. Apt Pupil,
yeah.
Yeah, I heard of that movie. I never saw
That's a good movie.
But Apt Pupil, yeah. Now, if you one of them Nazis and you want it for war crimes, they coming for you. All right, read that, King. Read on. Oh, that's in the 2 Maccabees. 2 Maccabees 6 and 10 to go with 1 Maccabees 1 and 61. Read 1 Maccabees 162 now.
1 Maccabees 162, everybody have it? Say, Khan.
Khan.
Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
Right, we got to be the same way today, man. You know, don't eat any unclean thing. If it's not according to the dietary law, don't eat it. You don't have to have no pork. You don't have to have shrimp. You don't have to have crab, lobster. Those are so-called delicacies that you could replace.
What about those chitlins on New Year's?
Yo, my God, them chitlins. Oh, my God.
With hot sauce on it.
Now, the hell with New Year's, they eating them for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people posting about that this year. Yo, man, my family's still cooking them chitlins. You know what I'm saying, man? And you know the nickname they call him. I ain't gonna say.
Yeah, you know.
Right? Sugar, honey, iced tea lanes. Right? Go ahead. And that's what they smell like. Right? Go ahead.
Wherefore they rather chose to die. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats.
Right. They said we rather die than we be defiled with meats. Everybody write down 1 Maccabees 163 with 2 Maccabees the 7th chapter. This is y'all homework.
2 Maccabees 7.
2 Maccabees the 7th chapter, when the sister and her 7 sons were killed for not wanting to eat the swine's flesh. All right. Everybody got that? 1 Maccabees 163 with 2 Maccabees the 7th chapter. Okay? This is good Hanukkah 8-day reading. Feast of Dedication 8-day reading. Okay? All right, read on. Finish that out in 64.
And there was great wrath upon Israel.
Right, and there was very great wrath upon Israel. All right, so go back to 1 Maccabees 4:54.
1 Maccabees 4, verse 54. Look at what time and what day the heathen have profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and with cisterns and with harps and cymbals.
Right, and said, look at what time. So everybody understand what it means by look at what time? Okay? Meaning the same day that the temple was profaned and defiled, the same day it was cleansed. Right? And the Most High made a feast day out of it for us to celebrate the Hanukkah 8 days. Bring it out.
Was we still under the curses when all this was going down?
Say it again.
We were still under the curses when all this was going down.
Well, we was in captivity under the Greeks, which was a curse, but the curse was being lifted because we was defeating the Greeks and coming back into our own independence. Okay. Go to 1 Maccabees 3:1. First Maccabees 3:1. When everybody have it, say Khan. Read that real quick. Read down till about. I'll tell you when to stop. Read that. First Maccabees 3:1. Read.
Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead.
See that? So after Matthias died, Judas took over the revolution against the Greeks. Come on.
And all his brethren helped him, and so did all they that held with his father. And they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
So it said they helped him, and everybody that was dedicated to his father, you know, just like David said. Remember before David died, he told Solomon, "Let my friends become your friends, and let my enemies become your enemies." Before he died, so everybody that was faithful to Matthias Maccabees, they continued their faith to Judas Maccabees. Okay? And all the enemies of Matthias Maccabees, they became Judas and his brothers' enemies. Okay? Right, go ahead.
So he gave his people great honor and put on a breastplate as a giant and girt his warlike harness about him.
Go ahead.
And he made battles, protecting the host with his sword.
Right, he made battles protecting the host with the sword. Come on.
In his axe he was like a lion, and like the lion's whelp, roaring for his prey.
Right, he was like a young, ferocious lion, man. Judas was a hell of a warrior. All right, take advantage throughout these days and read all the Maccabees and read about all of Judas' war campaigns. Right, go ahead.
For he pursued the wicked and sought them out and burnt up those that vexed his people.
Come on.
Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him.
The wicked shrunk for fear of him. Go ahead.
And all the workers of iniquity were troubled.
Come on.
Because salvation
Because
prospered.
what?
Because salvation
Go ahead.
prospered in his hand.
It said because salvation prospered in Judas' hand. So we were under the curses being defeated by the Greeks, but the curses were lifted to a degree because why? Salvation prospered under Judas. We kind of became like independent as a nation again because we got the temple back. And once we got the temple back, we can serve the Most High. Overall, the Greeks were still ruling, but we had a temporary deliverance from the harsh curse of them ruling over us and controlling the temple. You understand? They were still ruling throughout other different parts, but we took back our city and our land and got back the temple and dedicated it back to the Most High and made a feast day out of it. Hence, the Feast of Hanukkah or Feast of Dedication. Okay? By Shema Mashiach. So it says salvation prospered in his hands. So the curse was lifted to a degree under Judas and the Maccabean revolt. Okay? That's like if we fought Esau and we took back LA. You know what I'm saying? They still got the damn United States, but we got LA, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cleaned up all the gangs, got rid of the gentrification, kicked the Edomites out of our neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? But there, Esau still got the rest of America. Mm-hmm. They said, damn, man, you know, they'll just come and bomb LA then. Yeah. If we used to do that, they'll just come they'll do us like Rosewood. Mm-hmm. They'll just come and drop a bomb on LA and be like, the hell with it, man. There's some whites dying there, but we not finna have these Negroes raised up. We gonna wipe out the city of LA, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They send a damn drone in there with a damn dirty nuclear bomb on it and Jacob be finished, man. Right? So go back to 1 Maccabees 4 and 54. And let's finish that out. Yeah, Khan.
Look at what time and what day the heathen have profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and with sisters, harps, and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days.
Yeah, there you go. That's what the word Hanukkah means, or Hanukkah in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. It means dedication. All right, go ahead.
And offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
Come on.
They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold, and with shields, and the gates, and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them.
Right, so they decorated, they got festive, they got into the spirit. So what is Israel talking about, you trying to be a Jewish Christmas? It said they decorated the temple. So they put their spirit into it. With real gold and silver back then. That they took from the damn Greeks. Okay? Right? So, Israel don't understand, but we're going to clear that up real quick after this. Go ahead.
Thus was there very great gladness among the people.
There was gladness. Go ahead.
For that, the reproach of the heathen was put away.
Right, because we whooped them Greeks and got them up out of the temple. We got them out the paint. Go ahead.
Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained that the dates of the dedication...
The days... Go ahead.
The days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year, by the space of 8 days, and from the 5 and 20th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness.
Come on.
And at that time, also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before.
Right, so they fortified the city, built it back up, and made it strong as in the days of old. Go ahead.
And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsur to preserve it, that they might have a defense against Idumea.
Now look at what is called in the Greeks Idumea, which is the Greek form of saying Edom. Mm-hmm. So let you know, Edom is the so-called white man. Okay? Let me see. Jump down to 5 and 3.
Chapter 5, verse 3. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau in Idumea.
In what?
In Idumea.
So come on, the children of Esau is the Idumeans, which is the Greek word for Edom, which is the so-called white man. The children of Esau.
Why Darton say that Esau's not the one? He said the other.
Who?
Ron Darton, the one from.
Ron Dalton.
Yeah, he said. Ron Dalton? Yeah, he said Esau's not the white man. It's what do you say? The other.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah, Japheth. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the camps they don't believe that Esau is the so-called white man. But I don't know how when the scriptures is clear.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. To each his own. Brothers gonna believe what they gonna believe.
Then they say Japheth is white, but
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
That I mean, and then you got books like Edom, Rome.
Yeah.
Where they tell you the Romans are the Idumeans. And the Idumeans are the children of Edom, which are the children of Esau. So you can't get around that. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Brothers gonna believe what they're gonna believe.
There's also a book entitled The Roman Empire. Rome, the Edom Empire.
Right. Rome, the Empire of Edom.
Oh, the Empire.
Yeah,
of Edom.
Rome, the Empire of Edom. Yeah. It's endless, man. If you still think, you still don't think the white man is not Esau, then I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
So real quick, for those that's talking about Hanukkah is a Jewish Christmas, or we get it from Christmas, or it's not Leviticus 23, so we're not supposed to celebrate it, right? The Most High can do what the hell he want. If he want to add another day of celebration to our calendar, then so be it. Give me Daniel's 8 and 8. Daniel chapter 8, verse 8. Yeah, let's go to Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Yes, Amalek is Esau, brother. Genesis 36 and 12 tells you Amalek is Esau. All right, tells you Amalek was one of the grandsons of Esau. That's it, Genesis the 36th chapter. Somebody asked on the comment board, is Amalek Esau? Yes. Amalek is is K-A-N, Khan, not C-O-N. Not Khan artist, brother. Nah. Right? Let me see that real quick. Yeah, this is Genesis 36. And Genesis 36 and let me see what I want. Genesis 36 and 16.
Genesis 36, 16, 19.
Let me see what I want. Yeah, Genesis 36 and 16. 15. So I can start at 15.
15.
Genesis 36 and no. Salakia, my bad. Start at 9. Genesis 36 and 9.
Genesis chapter 36, verse 9. Everybody have it, say Khan. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir.
These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount. Verse 8 says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Right, go ahead.
These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Reuel, the son of Bash-Emath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. And she bare Eliphaz to Amalek.
Amalek. There you go.
It is.
These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. And keep on.
Yeah.
And these are the sons of.
No, matter of fact, that's it. And it says, and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. And she bare to Eliphaz Amalek, a descendant of Esau. Khan? So, yes, brother, Esau, Amalek comes out of Esau. All right? So go to Daniel's 8 and 8 again. Salakia.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 8.
Would everybody have it, Sikhan?
Fine.
Everybody got it?
Fine.
Daniel 8, verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Right, it said the he-goat. Who's the he-goat? By a show of hands, don't yell out. Who's the he-goat? No, because I know you know. Somebody else.
You said the eagle?
The he-goat. Who's the he-goat? Go ahead.
Alexander?
Karen. Well, you looking at some notes. Talking about you guessing. Oh, okay, Karen.
What did she say?
Alexander, the
Alexander,
he-goat,
okay.
right? 8 and 8 again. Daniel 8 and 8.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 8. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great.
The he-goat is Alexander the so-called great, or Alexander the Greek. And it said he waxed very great. Why? Because he was the leader of the known world at that time. It was time for the Greek Empire to come in. Right? Come on. 333 BC. Go ahead.
And when he was strong,
At the height of his rulership, come on.
the great horn was broken.
He died. All right. He reigned about 12 years and died. From syphilis and other sexually transmitted diseases from men, animals, and everything else he can get his hands on. Right? Yeah, man. They said Alexander stunk so bad his soldiers used to have to march like 100 feet in front of him because they couldn't take his smell because he was rotting and dying and still trying to march them to war. All right, go ahead.
And for it came up four notable ones.
His 4 main generals that ruled after him. Ptolemy, Cassander, Lysimachus, I'm pronouncing it. These names, I'm gonna read it in a minute. I'll give it to y'all in a minute. All right, go ahead.
4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Go ahead.
And out of one of them came forth the little horn, which waxed exceeding great.
Anybody know who the little horn is? The little horn is Antiochus Epiphanes IV. Antiochus Epiphanes IV. All right.
What is generous?
Yeah, that was the main general.
All right.
All right. Antiochus Epiphanes IV. He came out of one of the 4 generals that we're going to read about from Alexander's rulership. Read on.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven.
Go ahead.
And it cast down some of the hosts.
Read 9 again.
And out of, verse 9, and out of one of them came forth the little horn, which waxed exceeding great.
Come on.
Toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
Toward the south, the east, and the pleasant land. The pleasant land being Israel. Because what happened, that's what we're reading about. Once the Greeks rose up, Alexander died, Antiochus Epiphanes took over his rulership as one of his 4 generals, and he invaded Israel. And that started the Inquisition against Israel from the Greeks. Right, go ahead.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven.
Go ahead.
And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
Meaning they came into Israel and they conquered some of our people, and they stamped upon us, meaning they forced their philosophies on us. And remember we read that they was forcing us to follow the Gentiles' sacrifices. Right? We read that in 2 Maccabees 6. Go ahead.
Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host.
Go ahead.
And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
That's that abomination of desolation. When it says the daily sacrifice was taken away, meaning what? They defiled the altar and put unclean animals on the altar. Everybody write down 2 Maccabees 6, verses 1 through 6. That was the abomination of desolation.
That's First Maccabees.
First Maccabees 6, 1 through 6. All right, everybody with me? All right, read on.
And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression.
Meaning you had sellout Israelites that went along with the Greeks. Go ahead.
And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
Come on.
Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto the certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
Come on.
And he said unto me, Until 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
Right, it said 2,300 days, which is about 6 years and 4 months, if my calculations are correct. That was from the time that the Greeks invaded the land until the time that Salakia. Oh, you asked for the password? Rob, you asked for the password? Never mind. All right. You all right, brother?
I'm all right.
Look like you zoned out.
No. I was like wondering.
You was back killing some Edomites with Judas?
I thought you was talking to somebody out there when you said Rob.
It said, it came up that Rob Judah would like to share the password to your Netgear. Okay.
Well, I'm looking at my book. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it probably be, huh? It's from the iPad. Okay, come.
You was doing that?
It's from the iPad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come. That's all. Don't worry about it. So yeah. So now, keep in mind, right? Daniel's 8, verses 8 through 14. Now go to 1 Maccabees 1:1.
1 Maccabees chapter 1. Verse 1. First Maccabees 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persia and the Medes, and that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
Right, Alexander reigned the first over Greece. Somebody give me Daniel 8:21 now. Daniel 8:21. Okay. So 1 Maccabees 1:1 links up with Daniel 8:21. Everybody have it, say Khan?
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
So who would be that first king of Grecia? Yahweh? Alexander. Okay? All right, so go back to 1 Maccabees 1:1.
1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persia and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
Go ahead.
And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
But he started getting proud, because the rulership of the earth was given to the Greeks at this time through him, through Alexander. Go ahead.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
Go ahead.
And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Go ahead.
And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
Right, that's the 4 generals. After he died, his servants bear rule, every one in his place. Go ahead.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Right, so when the so-called white man came into power, what happened? Evils were multiplied in the earth.
Earth was given to the hands of the wicked.
Right? Didn't Esau say civilization started with the Greeks?
Yeah.
But what happened? Read that part again.
And so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
And evils were multiplied in the earth. 1 Maccabees 1:9. Everybody write down Job 9:24.
Job 9:24, yeah. Job 24. Earth is given to the hands of the wicked.
Real quick, Yahweh, get Proverbs 29 and 2. So with 1 Maccabees 1 and 9, Esau want to say civilization started with the Greeks, right? 1 Maccabees 1, what kind of civilization? Wicked civilization. So 1 Maccabees 1 and 9 with Job 9:24, and y'all going to put these other two precepts. Real quick, everybody don't have to get it. Proverbs 29 and 2. Quick on them swords.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority,
The scriptures clearly say when the righteous are in authority, go ahead.
the people rejoice.
The people are going to rejoice on the earth. Come on.
But when the wicked beareth rule,
When the wicked bear rule, go ahead.
the people mourn.
The earth is going to be in mourning. Evils were multiplied in the earth when the wicked came into power. Okay? Jump down to 12. Proverbs 29 and 12.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 12. If a ruler breaketh to lies,
If a ruler hearken to lies,
so like if a ruler hearketh to lies,
go ahead.
all his servants are wicked.
All his servants are going to be wicked. So if you got wicked people in power, the people under them are going to be wicked. That's why the earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Yeah.
That's why the world is so jacked up now, because the devil is ruling. God and Satan got everybody going haywire.
Yep. Like the cabinet, you know, when the president is wicked, his cabinet is wicked.
Right, his cabinet's wicked. Go back to 1 Maccabees 1, and we're going to read 10, yeah.
That was 9:24. 1 Maccabees 1, verse 10. And there came out of them wicked root. There came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 130th and 7th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Right, because the Greeks and the Romans were having wars amongst each other also. Every year I always say it. Whenever you read the story of the Maccabees, you got to understand, the entire story is based upon internal warfare. Internal warfare between Israel and internal warfare between Esau. And when y'all read the whole story, y'all understand why I said that. So now you got to read the whole story, right? Right? Go ahead. That's your homework, right? Go ahead.
In those days, went there out of Israel wicked men.
And see that? You can't make this up. I just said it.
Right.
In those days, there went out of Israel wicked men, sellouts. It was internal warfare amongst Israel. And that's why Antiochus was a hostage at Rome. Why is a Greek man a hostage at Rome? Because the Greeks and the Romans was fighting against each other. Now realizing they're the same people. Right? Israel was fighting against each other. Right? They wanted the high priesthood. There was a Benjamite that wanted the priesthood from a Levite. All right? So there was internal warfare on both sides. That was the whole thing that was going on during the Maccabees. It was civil internal warfare amongst Esau and Israel. And then it was warfare against each other. Huh?
Like Russia and Ukraine right now.
Yeah, correct. And internal warfare, and warfare with each other. While they're fighting internal warfare, they're fighting against each other.
The Romans, the progenitor of the Romans were the Greeks.
Right.
They came into the Italian peninsula and set up Rome.
That's what it was
That
called.
was the Greeks.
It was called a Greco-Roman
Exactly
Empire.
right.
Right, correct.
Right.
They're the same people.
Right.
Right, go ahead.
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Is what BC, brother? You got to be specific. Is what BC? You just said, is this BC? Salakia, somebody asked a question on the chat. Is what BC, brother? You got to be specific. Go ahead.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Here we go with the sellout. If we can't beat them, join them. Oh Lord, if we can't have the white man, we're gonna die.
Charles Barkley.
Right, Charles Barkley, right? Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, Shaq.
Right, Shaq. Right, go ahead.
Shaq.
So this device pleased them well.
They can control Shaq. They can control. They can control LeBron James, but they can't control me. Yo, Kanye. Yo, Kanye is wild. Right, go ahead.
So this device pleased them well.
This device pleased them well because what? It said, listen, if we can't beat them, join them. Okay? So we have a lot of Negroes like that now. Jim Brown.
God.
Right?
Would you bring only this handful of soldiers against Xerxes? See, I was wrong to expect Sparta's commitment to at least match our own.
Doesn't it? You, there. What is your profession?
I'm a potter, sir.
And you, Arcadian, what is your profession?
Sculptor, sir.
You?
Blacksmith.
Spartans! What is your profession? You see, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.
I want to hear about it.
Hear about what?
Everything.
What? Everything.
Everything they're afraid to show us in school.
Far from the shadow of suspicion. Far from the scene of any crime. Todd Bowden has discovered a secret.
If you could let me in for a minute, I just want to talk.
Talk? I don't have anything to say to you, boy.
You were there. You did those things.
I'm an American. You've no right to come here and say these lies about me.
I have your fingerprints. I have your photographs.
What do you want?
I want to hear about it. Everything.
Between innocence and experience.
To the whole world, I am a monster. And you have known about me all this time.
Between curiosity.
What did it feel like?
And conscience.
Lying to judges and reporters isn't as easy as you think. Can you do that? I know I can.
Todd Bowden is about to learn a valuable lesson.
I wonder if you'd mind if I ask you a personal question.
Not at all.
What'd you do during the war?
I know something about you. So many things can happen in between.
Each knew something the other wanted to keep secret.
The boys ready to come down to the cellar. You're not gonna believe this.
If you don't believe in the existence of evil, you have a lot to learn.
Todd Bolton, yes, that was his name. He wanted to know everything. That was how he put it, yes. Everything.
Exciting for me to be here. I want to thank Miss Daniels for being a teacher. I want to thank Gwen for being a principal. And I want to thank you all for practicing reading so much. It's really important.
And this morning we do have a lesson that we will read with you, read for you.
Good.
And it's lesson 60 of our SRA reading program. Direct instruction.
I know very well where that came from.
Okay. Are you ready, my butterflies? Yes. LLP position, eyes on me. 1, 2, 3. Get ready to read all the words on this page without making a mistake. Hard. Read this word the fast way. Get ready.
Hard.
Yes, hard. What do these two letters say?
R.
Yes, R. Sound it out. Get ready.
R.
What word?
Park.
Yes, park. What do these two letters say?
R.
Yes, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153. At the count of 3, everyone should be on page. Yes, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153. Count of 3, everyone should be on page 153. If the yellow paper is going to bother you, drop it. Thank you. Everybody touch the title of your story. Fingers under the title. Get ready to read the title, The Fast Way. We're waiting for one member. Thank you. Fingers under the title of the story. Get ready.
The pet goat.
Yes, the pet goat. Fingers under the first word of the story. Get ready to read the story the fast way. Get ready.
A girl had a pet goat.
Go on.
She liked to go running with her pet goat.
Go on.
She played with her tail.
Try it again. Get ready from the beginning of that sentence. Get ready.
She played with her goat in her house.
Go on.
She played with her goat in her yard.
Good job. Go on.
But the goat did something that made the girls mad.
Let's clean that up. Get ready. Try it with but. Get ready.
But the goat did something that made the girls mad.
Go on.
The goat ate things.
Go on.
He ate cans and he ate cans.
Try that again. Get ready.
He ate cans and he ate cans.
Good job. Go on.
He ate cans and he ate cans.
Go on.
He even ate cats and cats.
Try that again. Get ready.
He even ate cats and cats.
Good job. Go on.
One day her dad said that goat must go.
What's behind the word said?
Comma.
And what does that comma mean?
Slow down.
Let's read that sentence again. Get ready.
One day her dad said that goat must go.
Go on.
He ate too many things.
Try that again. Go on.
He ate too
What is that word?
Eat.
Sound it out.
Eat.
What word?
Eat.
Start from the beginning.
Roly the Boule pig.
Oh, Roly Poly.
Roland Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland Martin. Yeah, right. Well, he try to lose a little weight nowadays, but he's still Roly, right? Right. So that's it on that. First of Maccabees 1:1-13. Is the feast BC? No, brother. Today is December 17th, 2022. All right. AD. No, I'm just kidding, brother. Yeah, it was BC. It was the first Hanukkah was around it was a circa 165 BC. All right, that was the first Hanukkah or Feast of Dedication. All right, so that's it on that. Now, real quick, right? Check this out. We read Daniel's 8-14. Now, I'm gonna read Daniel's 8-14 in the Compact Bible Commentary. This is the Nelson's Compact Bible Commentary. Now check out what the Edomite scholars is going to say. Why they got a reason to lie. All right? They're going to tell the true history. They're going to interpret what Daniel 8-14 is talking about. So this is Daniel 8:8 in the Bible Commentary. It says, the large horn was broken. Alexander the Great died at the height of his career, before he was 33 years old. 4 notable ones. After Alexander's death, 4 of his generals carved up the Macedonian Empire. Antigonus ruled from northern Syria to Central Asia. Antigonus is also known as the Seleucid dynasty. That's who Antiochus Epiphanes IV came out of. The Antiochian line came out of the Seleucid dynasty, also known as Antigonus. All right, it says, ruled from Syria to Central Asia, and they're the ones that came down into the pleasant land, all right, which was Israel. All right, that was the Seleucid dynasty, which Antiochus came out of. Cassander ruled over Macedonia. Ptolemy, the P is silent, ruled in Egypt and southern Syria, including Palestine. Lysimachus ruled over Thrace. Daniel's 8 and 9 commentary. The little horn here is not the same as the little horn of chapter 7. The little horn in chapter 7 is America coming out of Great Britain. The former horn comes out of the 4th beast, Rome, whereas this one comes out of Greece. The little horn here refers to Antiochus Epiphanes, the 8th king of the Syrian dynasty who ruled from 175 to 164 BC. Thus, this prophecy skips from 301 BC, the time of the division of Alexander's empire, to 175 BC when Antiochus became king. Daniel's 8 and 10. The hosts of heaven and the stars refer to God's people, which we know is Israel. See chapter 12 and 3, Genesis 15 and 5. Cast down describes Antiochus' conquests. Daniel's 8 and 11 commentary. The prince of the host refers to Yahweh himself. It refers to the Most High, but it also refers to the high priest, because the high priest is the representative of the Most High. All right? So here, Esau says it refers to the Most High, but it's the Most High, but it's by way of the high priest. All right? The little horn, like Lucifer, see Isaiah 14 and 12, aspires to be like the Most High. Sanctuary cast down. Antiochus desecrated the house of Yahweh by erecting a statue of Zeus on the bronze altar. Hence the abomination of desolation. Right? The scholars is telling you what Daniel's 8 through 14 is talking about. Now it's going to get better. All right, verse 11, Daniel's 8 and 12. Truth is in reference to the Mosaic law. Remember, it said it practiced and prospered against the truth. Because what? The Greek Inquisition was to take Israel away from the truth. God, see, Esau knows. They know what the scriptures is talking about. A holy one and another holy one referred to the angels. Daniel's 8:13. Daniel's 8 and 14. The 1,300 days refers to the time between Antiochus' pollution of the temple and the cleansing of it by the Maccabees. So they're telling you that Daniel's, the 8th chapter, is the prophecy of the Maccabees coming back and cleansing the temple. Okay? Read Daniel 8:14 again. You can't get around this. But this is a Jewish Christmas, right? They don't know the scriptures. Is the Feast of Dedication was prophesied in Daniel's the 8th chapter. It said the Maccabees would come back and cleanse the temple. And in cleansing the temple, what did they do? They set up a feast day to celebrate this cleansing of the temple. Go to Daniel 8. Read Daniel 8 and 14 now.
All right. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
Be what?
Be cleansed.
It said that certain dispensation of time, the sanctuary would be cleansed. What did we just read in the Bible commentary? It said the cleansing of the temple by the Maccabees. Now, go to 1 Maccabees 4 and 36. Let's bring it on home. 1 Maccabees 4:36, and let's bring it on home.
1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary.
Jump down to 41.
Verse 41. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary.
Until he what?
Until he had cleansed the sanctuary.
Okay, so Daniel's 8:14 with 1 Maccabees 4:36 and verse 41. Because that was the fulfillment of the prophecy. Now, jump down to 1 Maccabees 4:59.
4 verse 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication.
So the word Hanukkah means dedication. All right, it's a Hebrew, ancient Paleo Hebrew word Hanukkah, which means dedication. So moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication, go ahead,
of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year.
In their season at the same time of the year. So don't tell you just trying to be like Christmas. No, this falls around the same time of the year. Right? Come on.
By the space of 8 days.
Come on.
From the 5 and 20th day of the month Caslu, with mirth and gladness.
So the Most High told us through the Maccabees that this would be another feast day added to our calendar. So this ain't no Jewish Christmas. You do error not knowing the scriptures or the power of the Most High. We just read, the scholars tell you, the prophets, they know what the scriptures are talking about. And the history lines up with it. So now, bring it all home. St. John 10:22, and we close it out. Show you where H.O.I was keeping a feast of dedication. The Hanukkah, not no Jewish Christmas. All right? But you know, I don't even argue no more. I don't even argue no more. I said, this person don't know the scriptures. All right, I said, this person does not know the scriptures. Or the history. You got to know the history too. And it's vast, man. We could be here to 6 in the morning, man. I'm just giving you the short version, right? St. John 10:22.
St. John chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication.
And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication. Go ahead.
And it was winter.
And it was winter. When you go into the Greek, it's the same word, Chanukah, right? Or Chanukah from the ancient Paleo, which is Hanukkah, or dedication, which means translation to the Hebrew. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. Go ahead.
And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
And Yahushua walked into the temple in Solomon's porch. He walked up the promenade or the steps that led up to the porch, entering into the temple. You know, you got a porch in front of your house a lot of times, and you walk up on a porch and then you go inside your house. Same thing the temple had, and he went in there. When you read the rest of St. John 10, he went in and taught the people on the Feast of Dedication. He was teaching them the word. Okay? It was not a Jewish Christmas. Yahushua was right there with the people keeping the Feast of the Dedication, or the Hanukkah. Okay? By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. So they can't get around it. But you want to call it a Jewish Christmas, then that's on you. You don't know the scriptures. Matthew 22:29, you do error not knowing the scriptures or the power of the Most High. But I'm not arguing with people no more. Kind? Any questions or comments? No? I'll ask everybody understand? Kind? If you learned one thing tonight, we've done our job. You got edification from this word, from this truth, from this gospel. And we lift up the Most High Yahushua. We give all thanks, praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, the Mashiach Yahushua. Kind? So everybody repeat, Ashar, Chanukah. Happy Feast of Dedication. Happy Hanukkah 2022.
Can you give us the spelling on Chanukah?
Of course, Ashar, A-S-H-A-R, or Asher. Chanukah, C-H.
C-H.
Double-A.
Double-A.
N-A.
N-A.
K-A-H.
K-A-H.
Ashar Chanukah. Yeah. Got it?
The what?
I end the bar. So everybody understand? Everybody got some edification? Write down them notes, study them. And notice, right? Notice. I didn't even, you know, for the sake of time, I could have went into a few of my other books. I didn't even have to go into really too deep into any other books. The scriptures answer themselves. Okay? So you just got to link up the precepts, and it's right there. And if you go into the books of the history, that's a whole nother level. Okay? But the scriptures is right there. It links itself up. Okay? So this Bible, man, this Bible defends itself. And you don't believe in it, that's on you. You got other doctrines, you believe in other stuff, that's on you. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Okay? Lady Issa Shebrew, sis, you asked if it is it blasphemous to say Hanukkah. We've been saying that the whole time, sis. How long you been on the live? What do you mean is it blasphemous to say Hanukkah? What are you talking about? I thought she was saying it's blasphemous to say Christ. Sis, how long you been on the live? Why would you ask, is it black? Who said it? Where you learn that from, sis? Who learned you that, sis? No, I said Hanukkah is the English way of pronouncing it. But it's Chanukah in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. But it wouldn't be black. We've been saying Hanukkah throughout the whole lesson. We're just telling you how to say it in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, sis. Who said it was blasphemy to say Hanukkah? Okay, sis. Well, okay. Blasphemous? You only been here 3 minutes, but where would you get that idea from? I just gave the original way to say it in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. I said nothing about blasphemy if you use the word Hanukkah. I don't know. All right. Love you, sis. Nevertheless. But that's it. Any questions or comments? One other
thing.
Yahweh has 10 questions now.
No, it's a comment. The other thing we were talking about earlier, they already passed a law on a federal level in D.C. to say it's illegal to disseminate false information, or rather, like a revisionist history kind of thing. Correct. They passed that law a couple months ago. So they're saying, I guess that's directed at us, because if we're coming out of scripture something they don't agree with, then they can point at us and say that's illegal.
They can demonize us, yeah. Right. They can demonize us, yeah. Okay. So we have to just be mindful, and Revelation 2:10, the Most High said, "Be faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life." So Isaiah 54, no weapon that is formed against us. I'm actually looking forward to this time, because it means we're getting closer. Absolutely. Right?
You heard about them trying to rebuild a temple in Israel right now?
In Israel, yeah.
They're trying to use Numbers 19.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, they trying. I'm trying, man. It's too late, though. It's too late. You already lost.
I thought they had that wall they prayed to.
The Wailing Wall, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that was that temple.
Idolatry, man. Pure idolatry. You know what I'm saying? But, that's that. So, Ashar Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah, happy Feast of Dedication, 2022. All praise to Yahweh Shai. What did Kanye West do?
The man told all the
What's up, Kano? You gotta be answering all the questions.
That man told all the Christians that he loves Hitler.
Yeah, Kanye is all over the place, man. I just take the real stuff that he say, and that's it, man. My mom's a sacrifice. I'll be like, all right, Kanye said some real ish right there.
The video.
Good? All right, all praises. So, Imagine Wapanya Yerushalayim. Stand and face Jerusalem on the east for closing prayer. Kwam Yashai.
Well, this chair's hard.
Yeah.
Sisters, y'all coming in for closing prayer? Yeah, getting that food warm and toasty.
Fall asleep on the road.
His eyes all good. Hallelujah. 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 Yahweh. Hashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Rak Nawa. Vaishala. Wahabiyah Supply. Shema. Yashirallah. Yahweh. Alahayanawa. Yahweh. Achak. Shema. Yashirallah. Yahweh. Alahayanawa. Yahweh. Achak. Shema. Yashirallah. Yahweh. Alahayanawa. Yahweh. Achak. Shema. Yashirallah. Yahweh. Alahayanawa. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our power, Yahweh is one. Hallelujah. 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 Blessed O Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Please watch over Israel throughout the four corners of the earth, Most High. All the camps, schools, congregations that are sincere in Yahushua, keeping the commandments, doing the work, teaching the gospel. Bless all of our family that's worshiping and serving and celebrating this Hanukkah Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah season. Bless all of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth in Yahushua. By Hashem Mashiach Yahushua, the Wada Aman. Hallelujah. 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 Brothers be seated, sisters come up, get anointed. Shemai, we still in prayer mode, so keep the noise down. Brothers, while we anoint the sisters, come get your olive oil and come and get your blessing.
Bless you.
Rakata.
Rakata.
Good.
Hallelujah. Y'all know the routine, sisters. Anointing. This is the time to ask the Most High to bless you, things you might be going through. Relationship, marriage, personal things, health issues, job, financial, stress. Now is the time to meditate. Ask the Most High to help you with them things. Be a better sister, daughter, mother, woman, wife. Overall, princess of the Most High. Now is the time to meditate on them things. Okay? Hallelujah. I pray. Finish the prayer. We start from right to left with Karima. Go around like this way to a Habia, then come around to the babies. Okay? Alright. I say the prayer, y'all just meditate. I'm the one that just say it. Y'all meditate. Say y'all name 3 times, receive y'all blessing. Anointed prayer, number 622 to 27 in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Ya Baraki Yahweh, wa Shemaka, Ya Al Yahweh, Panyawa, Ayaka, wa Yakanka, Yasha'a Yahweh, Panyawa, Ayaka, wa Yashamlaka, Shalom, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Babakusha, Shemai, Nawa, Aita, Shalak, Ma'ika'ala, Walahayim, La, Shema'ayo, Barak, Rapah, Aizar, Magun, Kazak, Hatazayah, Kwawa, Karima, Danielle, Ahabia, Zamora, Zanai, Zara, Zakara, Kaylin, Ko Akyum, Ko Lakwafyum, Ko Banyum, Yasha'ala, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Yahushai, the Wada, the Miyad, Agulam, Hallelujah. 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 I don't know why I keep calling you Kayla. It's Caitlin. Call her Kayla. Akim.
People at T.O. used to call me Caitlin.
No Caitlin. Come up, Akim, get y'all anointing. All right, same thing, Akim, anointing prayer, number 6, 22 to 27. All right, now is the time, brothers. We got to be strong in these last days. So now is your time. You meditate, anything you're going through, financial, household, stress, want to do this work better, want to be a stronger brother, anything health-wise, now is the time to meditate on. Ask the Most High for blessings, to help you through those things. Okay? And be an overall brother, father, son of the Most High, warrior on his front line in his truth. Those are the things you ask for during this anointed prayer. Okay? And when you're praying on your own, of course. Anointed prayer, number 6, 22 to 27. I'll just say it myself. Y'all meditate as I'm saying the prayer. We start from right to left. When I finish with Yaikwab, go around from Kazakh all the way down to Yahweh. Hallelujah. Then to myself. Hallelujah. Anointed prayer, number 6, 22 to 27. Ya Baraki Yahweh, wa Shamaka, Ya Al Yahweh, Pan Yahweh, Al Yaka, wa Yakanka, Ya Sha'a Yahweh, Pan Yahweh, Al Yaka, wa Yashamnaka, Shalom, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Babakusha, Shemai, Nawa, Aita, Shalak, Ma'ika'ala, Walahayim, La, Shema, Ayo, Barak, Rapah, Aizah, Magan, Kazak, Hatazayah, Kwawa, Yaikwab, Kazak, Jeremiah, Rob Judah, Yehoiada, Zabak, Ko, Akim, Ko, Aguafim, Ko, Bunyam, Yasha'ala, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, the Wada, the Yad, Avalum, Hallelujah. Everybody rise again, face the east, pray for the food and the drink. All right. Hallelujah. Yahweh. Hashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Baruch Barak. Ma'akal. Nawa. Shathah. Nawa. Yayan. Nawa. Kazak. Shathah. Nawa. Barak. Nawa. Kag. Kanaka. Baruch Hashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. The Wada. The Yad. Olam. Hallelujah. Blessed O Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. Thank you for the Hanukkah feast that we're about to receive, Most High. Watch over us, bless us, and let it nourish our bodies. If it be thy will, Most High, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai, the one our man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Brothers, turn to the sisters. Let's salute each other. Not too loud. I ain't trying to get kicked out no more. Brothers of Israel, Amajim, Barak. Salute the sisters, Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Shema Atam. Sisters, Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Shema Atam. Hallelujah. Sisters, be seated. I can turn right here. When I say Amajim, you come to a snap. When I say Barak, you snap your chest. Okay. Hallelujah. Akim Yasha'ala, Amajim. Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Bakatam. Kom Yeshua. Hallelujah. Barakatah Yahweh. Yahushua. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahushua. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahushua. Ba'ashem. HaMashiach. Yahushua. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom. Ashar Kanaka. Kwam Yashalom. We got different chants on y'all. I have to always be the we got next on H.O.I. Happy Feast of Dedication. Happy Hanukkah, everybody, 2022. One minute, Shalom. 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 Let me get a little light music. One minute, Shalom.